Welcome back. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit the like and share button, people. As we know, this morning, Frank Lampard was officially relieved of his duties as Chelsea manager, and it has been announced an 18-month contract has been negotiated and agreed between Chelsea, Roman Abramovich, and of course Thomas Tuchel, the former Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund coach. And what a reaction from Chelsea supporters across the globe. I mean, there are some that are buzzing, some that are excited, and there are others that are really frustrated, that are really annoyed with the way Lampard has been treated. We're going to delve into a lot of that on this show as well. Remember, tonight, 9 p.m., that Chelsea show is back. Anita hosting. That's going to be, they're really going to be delving into why and what went wrong in terms of Frank Lampard in that show. So make sure you're there 9 p.m. tonight. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Why am I talking like a bird? Do birds have husky voices? I don't know. But yes, I want to hear from you today. I want to know how you're thinking and feeling kind of 7-8 hours after the announcement that Frank Lampard had lost his job. It has been confirmed, not directly by Chelsea Football Club, but Thomas Tuchel will be the new Chelsea manager. An 18-month contract has been agreed. The reason for the delay and the reason that Frank Lampard stayed as the Chelsea manager for the weekend is Thomas Tuchel wasn't sure as to whether or not he wanted to be the Chelsea manager this year. He ideally wanted to come in the summer, and it took a few days for Chelsea to negotiate that out and iron things out and, of course, get their ducks in a row. So he's going to be coming in, and I want to know what you think and feel about this. You, the viewers of the Football Terrace, the most important element and the biggest cog in this world. In the world, Terry's voice is gone because he was gassed yesterday. Absolutely right. Richard here says Tuchel has managed Dortmund, a selling club with lower expectations, and Paris Saint-Germain, a team of, I think you mean Galacticos, above their, a team galaxies above their opposition in an easy league. This is a panic appointment. How many people agree that this is a panic appointment? I would love to know. How many Chelsea fans think that Frank Lampard has been mistreated by this board? We're going to take a little look at Rory and what he said a little bit earlier on today in terms of it's despicable, abhorrent behavior from Chelsea Football Club to treat the legend that is Frank Lampard in this way. Are some of you feeling like that? I really do want to know. I really want to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling in relation to that. Do some more of your comments here. Patrick says, definitely mistreated. I've got such big views on this. And I'll do that when we're reacting to the video, actually. I think we'll save it a little bit later for that. But Thomas Tuchel is the new boss. And on Thomas Tuchel, I mean, we ourselves have done a big video about Thomas Tuchel and what he could bring to Chelsea. His style of football is amazing. He opts for the 4-2-2-2 set formation as an example, marauding fullbacks. Doesn't really play with an out-and-out number 10. Loves a double pivot. Has two wide players that pull into these central positions. That actually could suit the Pulisics, the Hudson-Odois, the Ziyech so well. I also think Thomas Tuchel is going to get the absolute best out of Timo Werner. When you look at the system that he employed at Paris Saint-Germain, the imperative element, the big important element really and truly came from the relationship with the central striker, and he has that in an absolute abundance. A 62% win ratio at Bayern Munich and a 74% win ratio at Paris Saint-Germain. And having said that, the first club he managed, sort of back in 2008, 58%. The only time it was a little bit awry, the 5 years at Mainz, 39% win ratio, but still got that job opportunity to move on in 2015 to Borussia Dortmund. I think it could be an amazing signing. But the Chelsea board could be the issue. And we're going to delve into what Rory had to say a little bit earlier. But the Chelsea board legitimately could be the issue here. There's no doubt about it in my mind. They could actually themselves be the issue. My view would be this if I was a Chelsea fan. Legitimately, this is what I'd be thinking. Does my board have the guts and the stomach for a manager, if things aren't quite going right, as an example? That would be what would run through my mind It really, really would. Ben here, the super chat says, remember when Chelsea said Lampard was clear of Ollie? They did say that. And big L. Big L in relation to that. There's no doubt about it. And I think most Chelsea fans came to that realization maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, where there was almost this epiphany moment amongst the majority of the fans, right? And there was just almost this element of what's going on here? Sorry, to see a weird message then. So I think it was just almost this epiphany in this moment where people thought, oh, maybe this guy isn't what he's meant to be up, cracked up to be. We are going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say a little bit later in this stream as well. Make sure you're hitting that like and share button, really important to the Football Terrace. But I repeat, Thomas Tuchel is the new Chelsea manager. He is. The formal announcement's coming very soon. Cameron here says, was Lampard in, but hopefully Tuchel can perform. And listen, I think if you are Lampard in and you want to show frustration, the last person you should be showing frustration at is Thomas Tuchel. I think you've got to get behind him. I think you've got to support him in relation to that. There's absolutely no doubt about it. DJ here says, Rory's reaction does not surprise me. Lampard is a Chelsea man, never had the same attitude when Sarri was our manager. As a fan, I'm gutted he is gone. But for the position we are in now, the right decision. And you know what, DJ, I agree with you so much when it comes to that comment, bro. I agree with you so much because I have seen a lot of energy from Chelsea fans. It's disgusting the way the board behaves. It's callous. It's cruel. It's unprofessional. I've seen all different kind of comments. Not the same energy when Sarri was sacked. Not the same energy when AVB was here. Not the same energy when Rafa was here. And equally, they're talking about how the matchday fans react. What about the global fan base that make Chelsea one of the biggest clubs in the world? What about their view and opinion? Stephen here says the Chelsea's board are the worst for consistently getting rid of managers. They are, but I suppose the argument is, but they win. I think Roman's babies don't care about it. The older generation maybe do. We've got a man like Cam on here with us now. Cam, how's it going, mate?
What's going on, dude? How you doing? I'm good.
Yeah, other than my voice being gone, I'm good. I'm good. What do you make of the Thomas Tuchel appointment?
It's interesting. It's very interesting because, like, realistically, I don't know a lot about Tuchel other than his failings at PSG. I didn't watch him at Dortmund. I'm not going to pretend I know the style of football. I've just been recently listening to different pundits talk about how he was very different at Mainz and how he controlled the team versus when he went to PSG, he became this weird hybrid man manager with no tactics. Because at PSG he didn't, but apparently before that he was good. I do find it even more interesting when you look at the way the pundits, like I'm talking about like the mainstream media pundits, treated Frank Lampard as if he was untouchable. Even up until 2 nights ago, they were saying, oh, he's going to get till the end of the season. So it's clear that nobody really kind of saw this coming as quickly as it was going to happen. I don't know if it was a panic. It seems like they as soon as Tuchel lost his job, it seems like they picked him for this role. Yeah. He's got a big job on his hand, though. At the very least, the one thing he can say is he didn't pick the squad. So maybe, and we know Roman's going to give him whatever he needs. I'm just curious, is he going to let him sell players, for instance? Like, what if he comes in and says, I don't want Kai Havertz?
Yeah,
do you know right?
Of course. I think what's interesting is though, he's been given an 18-month deal. So that would tell me, and they're never going to admit this, Chelsea, but that tells me one thing, that Tuchel has accepted this job, knowing that he has a maximum of 2 he'll have this summer, which will be after 6 months, and then a January window. So he has 2 transfer windows. That's, for me, that's Tuchel looking at the job and saying, I can get a tune out of this squad because there isn't enough time to overhaul. He's actually going to end up with, well, actually, Lampard, in fairness, only actually had 1 transfer window because of the ban. But do you get where I'm coming from? So Tuchel's going to have to get a tune out of this team, and there's no other way around it as far as I can see.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's true. They can't really turn around and sell players right off they can't. So it's probably the understanding was, listen, this is what you have to work with. Can you do better than Frank did? I do find, I mean, it's interesting. Frank's appointment was based on, he didn't really get the trial. You know, when you look at, and same with Pirlo, he's weird. That was a weird one too, but he didn't get the trial that Ollie did, for instance. Ollie came in and he was like, let's see what we can do for a run of games. And then he proved it by winning most of them. Whereas Frank, it was like, we're going to give you a year and then we'll see what you do. Where then it was finishing third, which was impressive fourth, which was impressive to people, but I'm sure the conversations were, that's no longer impressive to us. Next year, we need to see it contending. And I believe that's probably where it fell flat for Frank, because they're nowhere near contending at this point. Like we all thought at the start of the season, there isn't not one person on the Terrace, not one person I've read at punditries that did not have Chelsea in the top 3 and like pushing to win the title. So,
yeah, I agree with that. We're going to go to the other guys in just a moment. It's an interesting bit of information I want to share here about Frank Lampard, and I'm sure on that Chelsea show tonight, 9 p.m. on the Football Terrace, this will be delved into as well. But Simon Phillips has tweeted here saying some of the young players who have performed so admirably for Chelsea and Lampard are believed to have complained about the treatment they received from disgruntled teammates. Accusations of certain graduates being favored have not always been solely confined to social media. It then also goes on to say Alonso was completely frozen out after storming to the team bus after the chaotic 3-3 draw at West Brom. And as has been the case, as been the case on many other occasions, this has made a group of players unhappy. I feel like one of the most important things for Tuchel to come in here and do is, I think there's a split in the dressing room. The way Frank Lampard gave that arm, when we heard the story this morning, I think it was Kai that shared it in the group, that Lampard had not told anyone who the captain was and just kind of put the badge on the peg of Mason
on his shirt. It actually was on his shirt apparently, because he just put his shirt on and didn't notice.
It was on there, yeah. So that I look at that and think, I believe this information that there was a fractured dressing room. Some of it probably created by Lampard and he's outing of people. The other element of it is Chelsea's old habits dying hard and coming through. From your point of view, Jem, 18 months to turn things around. I mean, what do you make of the appointment of Tuchel? Are you excited, concerned? Where's your head at right now?
As a Chelsea fan, you're not really surprised in terms of what's just happened. I think since Jose Mourinho back in 2005-06, when he got the sack, you don't really hold any emotions to it, because you just know that your board's so relentless, and they're just relentless as hell. They don't like something, they're just ruthlessness. It's they'll just kick someone out. They're not interested. You know what I mean? For me, the appointment of Tuchel, I'm just going to treat the same as I've treated every manager that's come through the door. I'm not overly excited. To be honest, I haven't really watched him enough to know how good of a manager he is. I've seen bits of him in the Champions League and with PSG and how he's got them set up and systems and style. But for me, it's just about seeing what he's going to do. And the interesting thing for me is that he's going to come in now. He's got a load of players, talented players. He's going to set his systems into place. He's going to see who he can get the best out of here and there. And then what I think will happen coming to the summer transfer window is they're going to allow him to review and see and suss where he thinks he needs to improve, if there's anywhere. I actually still think if we're going to play this 4-2-2-2, which is the Tuchel formation, I think we're probably going to need a sitting DM to do it, because we haven't got a clear sitting DM, someone that can hold. So there's a lot of things that I think he's still got to address. But at the same time, this season, I think he's got to get us into the top 4. I mean, people will say we need to win a trophy as well. For me, it's not the prerogative. For me, it's getting top 4. It has to get top 4 this season.
I hear that. Ches is here with us as well. Ches, not spoke for a little while. First, I'd like your reaction to Lampard losing his job. The appointment of Tuchel is all but official now. Excited? Where you at?
It's a tough one, because like that comment said just now that you put up, it's like, I feel gutted, but it came at the right time. And if it didn't come now, us fans would have been so disappointed to see Lampard as a legend as well as a manager fail completely and get 8th, 9th, and it would have been bad for the club to receive. It would have been bad for the fans, and it would have even worse of a worse touch on what's going on now. So I think this unfortunately came at the best time. And I was with Jem. I didn't want him to go in the middle of the season, but I think Tuchel coming in now, in hindsight, would be a good idea, because it would allow him to implement what he needs to implement. Him being a good enough coach should get us top 4, hopefully, with the team we've got. and then coupled with the transfer window coming up in summer, it will allow him to, like Jim said, further polish up all the mistakes. And I wanted to mention one thing, Terry, that you mentioned earlier. We could talk about it more in a minute, but the player power thing, I think it's more of a case of, unfortunately, I don't think Lampard, because of his lack of experience and like with managing top players, I just don't think he handled the squad good enough. I think all these news articles about players coming out upset, Rudiger, young players, I believe every one of them, because it sounds as though there's a massive split in the changing room. I'm not too sure if it was because of player power or maybe Lampard kind of made his bed himself in a way.
Yeah, I think that you'll find there's half of one and half of one. 6 of one and half a dozen of another. I literally forgot the saying when it comes to that. I think they're all accountable. I think there's a bits and bobs in most. I think there's so much irony as well, though, that Frank Lampard has been partly ousted because of player power when him and his teammates did the same thing to managers on multiple occasions. And yeah, look, I think I understand why people wanted to wait till the summer, but when you've got a fractious dressing room, and you've maybe got 5 or 6 academy players being picked on by older players, some established stars who are disgruntled, the ownership needs to try and amalgamate them back together, because it can become, if that toxicity continues to grow and develop and it becomes even deeper entrenched, the new manager has an even harder job. Tuchel can come in now. He can be everybody's friend. He can see actually who the good guys, who the bad guys are, because you know what? If Tuchel comes in and favors Mount, then maybe people like David have got to drop their agendas. Maybe the fans will calm down. Maybe then it's like, well, actually, the reason Alonso and Rudiger were being frozen out is because they're not great. A bit like when Ollie came in, and it was a case of, we'll see who sold in the next 18 months. They are the viruses. Man like Pogba's still here. We've got Lincoln and Nagal with us as well right now. Gents, welcome. We're going to take a look at Rory's video in a minute, because I think it's really important, because I want to understand the psyche of Chelsea fans and what you guys think and feel. But Igal, Tuchel to Chelsea. Are Chelsea going to be back?
It doesn't make any sense. They've had the same problem with managers who speak out about the board, and they've sacked him before, with Jose Mourinho having problems with the board, Antonio Conte having problems with the board. And if you look at the history of Thomas Tuchel, he had a similar issue with Dortmund. He had a parting of ways. He had a similar issue with PSG. He had a parting of ways. I get that you had to make a move and you went and got the best manager you could get, but in my opinion, I would, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be like, this is another short-term move. It's not a solution to the problem.
I think you're right, to be honest, Igal. We've got a history of just bringing managers in, and there's no progression. There's never a progression with Chelsea. It's just about the winning here and now. And it gets to a point where, like this season, I'm probably one of the guys that actually said it. I actually thought we might have changed a little bit. I thought they've given Lampard this money. They've probably given him a 3-year sort of progression phase. But, yeah, you know, and they didn't. But that was only because I didn't see him act so quickly before. So for me, look, it's happened. He's gone. It's a shame that he's gone, and we just have to move on with it now. And it's just upsetting. Well, it is a little bit upsetting. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is, I guess.
I get that. Who's that? Who said that?
That was me, Terry.
Yeah,
I just wanted to respond. I completely get that it was untenable, but at this point, don't you feel like, as Chelsea fans, that you guys maybe need a culture change, in the sense that sacking managers constantly might bring you success as it has, but at the same time, football has changed, and you need to intrigue and get a style of play, get people from the academy down, need to have a similar way of playing, similar system. Something needs to happen where there's some sort of consistency from the top to the bottom. And this is what I thought Lampard was going to do. And maybe that's just not the way you guys can do things at Chelsea.
That's
the thing is, you only mentioned
that. Yeah,
you only mentioned about Tuchel in PSG. I've researched this already, and the context matters a little bit. He felt as PSG like the board were controlling what he could do on the pitch, which is true, because their club is very heavily orientated around 2 players and star individuals. At Chelsea, he's got a completely different proposition. He has a chance to build his name up to be one of the best. If he does well with Chelsea next season and this season, he'll be regarded as one of the best managers of the world, because of the position we're in, because of the club size we have right now. So to say his previous means that is a continuous trend isn't true, and you can't prove it to be true unless you actually go.
No, but that is true. You guys controlled Lampard and told him you have to play Kepa in order to retain his value. So if you have another situation where Timo Werner is flopping or Kai Havertz flopping, and he doesn't feel like playing them is fit, he's going to be told you have to play our assets in order for us to maintain the value of the player so we can sell them on. And if that happens again, it's going to be the same thing all over again, but at a different club with a different color shirt. That's all it is.
What I would say is this, though, right? I've done a tactic video that's trending today. Well done, me. Right? I stand by it. Tuchel could be a really good manager. His tactics could work. He could become the most successful manager in the next 3 years in Chelsea's history. But he's still going to get sacked. He's still going to get sacked at some point. Like
Chelsea way.
He will.
He would just have to be there for 3 years. And he'd be
the only manager that didn't get sacked was Sarri, and that's because just before you sacked him, somebody was like, yo, we want to take him away from you. Like, legit. So I think it does matter how he does when he comes in. But Tuchel could be sacked by the summer if it goes wrong. I'm really serious.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's how Chelsea are. And look, that brings us nicely. We're going to take a look at Rory's video. Then we're going to open up the phone lines for everyone to get involved. Over 2,000 people watching, but I really need you to do me a big favor first of all. Hit the like and share button. Sign up to our Discord server. That's where we're going to share the link soon. But also check out the Manscaped website, title sponsors of the Football Terrace. Get your 20% discount off of all grooming products there, including, I've been very hot and bothered today. I've had a very busy day. Ball deodorant. Keep it fresh. They do that.
Hey, I was going to head out. Can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course, Ken, bro.
Before I head out, I just want to say this one thing. To all you guys saying Lampard's clear of Arteta, and Ollie, guess who's laughing now?
That don't make no sense. He's such an idiot.
That makes no sense, by the way, Terry, what you just said.
Well, look, I listen. I think Arsenal fans feel a little bit. It's interesting. Arteta inners are celebrating this, like, our guy's better. Arteta outers are like, this shows how good a club Chelsea are.
Exactly.
I love the dynamic. I love the dynamic. I do. We're going to take a little look at what Rory said. I think it's important to listen to what Rory said here.
Man, he looks devastated.
He does. He's been crying there.
Pale as hell.
You know what I mean? He's actually got the same look on his face as Mr. Soprano behind him. Let's take a little look at what he had to say.
Manager in the tunnel at Goodison Park. This is a club who sacked Roberto Di Matteo in the November, having won a Champions League and an FA Cup the previous season. This is now a club who have sacked Chelsea's greatest ever player in his first blip. Frank Lampard is Chelsea, far more than anyone on that board. Everyone who sits on that board is an utter disgrace. And the sad thing is, the way that they try and portray themselves, the way that they try and act like we are different, this is who they are. Do you know, I've actually been in the company of a lot of people on this board, and I've been in and around them, and they have no interest for the club. They have no romanticism. They have no sentimentality about the club. It's purely a business. It's purely operated on a financial level. And the lack of respect that have been shown here to the man who captained Chelsea to a Champions League is outrageous. It's unfathomable. I mean,
so just quickly on what he said, what's anybody's first, Chelsea fans, first of all, what's your instant reaction to what he said there?
I think he's allowing his emotions to get involved more than anything. For him to sit there and actually say that, you know, like, he looks so disappointed as if Chelsea have never sacked managers before. Like, what is he talking about? Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm
he's
feeling.
not separating the manager
from the
player.
player.
Lampard being the manager, he's still got it intertwined in his head, which is clouding his judgment.
Yeah. Does this man follow sport? Because it's all a business. Like, it doesn't matter who you follow, what team you follow. There's always going to be a business aspect behind it.
Yeah, I think so far, though, in terms of this, I get you're right. It's Lampard is big. I get that you've got to romanticize and everything else. The first thing that comes into my mind is, though, I get slamming the ball. I felt the way Chelsea treated Lampard as a player at the end of his career was disrespectful. I felt the way Ashley Cole left fairly unceremoniously for what he'd done. Like, you've got to remember this period of that sort of Terry Cole Lampard era of Tottenham. But it was the greatest era in the history of Chelsea Football Club. But what I mean is the way this board behave is what's led to it being the most successful period of Chelsea's history. My view is this: if you want a more romantic, caring, emotional board that do the things that Rory said there, I think you have less success. So I always feel like if you would ask Chelsea fans this way, what would you rather, the ruthless, carefree, no emotional board to run Chelsea, or the ruthless winners that you have? That's the question I'd pose to Chelsea fans right now. What would you rather have?
The winners, isn't it? That's what it's about, winning at the end of the day, and it's worked for us, so it is what it is.
If you've got winning formula, why change it? Even if it's harsh.
Yeah. Let's see what else Rory says.
Go on.
It's the only reason it's not unfathomable is because we've seen it all before. This is a hateful club.
But hang on.
This is a hateful board. And
but this is the thing. We've seen it before. This is a hateful board. I think he means. I don't know what he means.
This is why I'm lost.
In this decision should really hang their head in shame. They've done it in the most slippery way possible. They have done it knowing full well that the Chelsea support would be irate and livid with this. And they can't.
Are they?
I don't think they are. Oh, well, Sky Sports sort of differs to it. They're saying 70% of Chelsea fans didn't want him to go. But I don't know what that's based upon, if that's just all the Lampard inners or how many people voted on it.
So they've done it during the lockdown. They know full well that Frank Lampard...
But the Chelsea fans just want Frank Lampard to stay because they love Frank Lampard. Because if this was Sarri with his record, AVB, they would... And that's where I think you have to look at it and be objective. The only time it makes sense is if you I don't know. The question I've got is this: are you happy not to win a league for 3-4 more years? If you are, I can understand it. But my view is just this. I'll go back to it again. You've had the best 15, nearly 20 years in the history of your football club because your board are what your board are. Do you change that at the risk of then going back? I mean, would you? I don't get it. I don't get the anger. I'm lost. I'm really lost.
Lampard has the unilateral, partisan and aggressive support of everybody who would be in Stamford Bridge. They know that. And they have therefore acted swiftly to try and get around having to deal with that issue. They were scarred by what happened when Rafael Benitez came in. They were scarred by the footage from Griffin Park. They were scarred by his first game against Manchester City when he was booed onto the pitch. And they know that if they were to sack Frank Lampard, that the support in the ground would be unforgiving. So they have done it in the most appalling...
But it can still be unforgiving. Cancel your season tickets.
So this is the part that's annoying. Yeah. He's not recognizing that Chelsea's appeal in the last, 10, 12 years is now global. You've now reached the levels of a global club. And he's deciding to throw that away. Like, that's where a lot of your... Yes, Roman is rich, but a lot of your money and the reason you can now play in financial is because you're a global club. You can't just talk about the match-going fans. Like, that's a very small percentage of who the Chelsea fan base is now. He's like, let's be
exactly.
No, I agree. I think it is disregarding the national and international Chelsea fan base massively. You know what? I totally get what Rory's saying, that the match going Chelsea fans and Chelsea fans that he associates with, they are livid about this. My question would be, though, and it's easier from an outsider looking in, take away Lampard's name, same stats, same performances, same split issues in the dressing rooms, all the same problems. Would there be the unilateral outcry and anger and frustration that Rory's referring to? My opinion is no. And like I've said for many years on the Football Terrace, and this just echoes across life, we often don't care what people do. We care about the person who's doing it. Because, we've just seen, it's a madness, honestly. You can have, if somebody is fashionable and they do something wrong, they get defended. If somebody's an unfashionable person and they do the same, I remember, like, during Trump's time in administration, I use Trump because it's a famous example. Guy's a bellend. None of us like him. But there was a picture of one of his aides with her shoes off and her feet up on one of the sofas in the White House. And I remember seeing CNN, all the British newspapers going mental about it. And I thought, I don't understand American culture. I was like, is that a bad thing? And then all these people were posting pictures of like Barack and Michelle were doing the same thing. and like when no one cared. And that was like one of the first moments in my life where I was like, by the way, I don't care that Eva had their feet on the sofas. I don't give a shit. But I looked at it and thought, look at that. Because of how you feel about that person, you try and make something worse than it really is. And this, by the way, this will happen now that the power balance has gone there. But I've seen this ever since seeing that moment and it being highlighted to me. I see it everywhere I go now, where the way Lampard's being treated, in my opinion, is no different to how Chelsea have treated every other single manager. But people now care about it because they love Frank Lampard. And I can't agree with it. Like, for me, if you're a Chelsea fan and you've celebrated anything that Roman's brought to you, denouncing this one particular piece of behavior, I mean, I didn't see this kind of outrage when your club defended a racist.
Yeah, Terry, can I say something quick?
Yeah.
Furthermore, Roman actually came out himself and released a statement.
Yep.
This is the first time he's like come out and said like things like 3 things in each initial stage. So he's actually come out of his way and like apologized. Not apologized, but kind of explained why. Rather than just doing it like Rory. If you just heard Rory's explanation,
just sympathetic.
you're a Chelsea fan living in another country, you would think that these board are like evil people and they only care about money, which is not true.
Well, I don't think they care about money at all. That's why they hemorrhage so much of it. They like the one thing I would love to have. The one things about the Romans and the Sheikh Mansours I'm jealous of is they don't own Chelsea to further their business ventures elsewhere. They're not an asset that they use to, it's Roman's toy. And that element I agree with. And if he ain't happy, he goes, right, that new car I bought, the horsepower's not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. That stays in the garage, or that gets sold on, and we move on, bruv. It's a matter. David,
fiscal irresponsibility. That's the only time is in the world of sport. You just want your sports, whoever your managers, your owners, you just want them to be frivolous. That's the one.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. David's here with us. I know we speak. No, we didn't speak this morning. You were in the lecture. I forget. Do you know, I've spoken to so many people today on different matters. My head is fucking spinning. But what's your thoughts on Tuchel, bro? We're gonna speak to you last now, and then we're gonna open up the lines for the viewers to call in. Tuchel, he is the new Chelsea manager. It hasn't been formally announced. That's because they're sorting out some issues with image rights with Frank Lampard first. But it's going to be announced very, very soon. Give us your thoughts, mate.
Yeah, Lampard had to go. Quite simply, just had to go because there was no evidence to help him say that it would get better in the future. Tuchel coming in, far better manager. And I feel like he's just a better fit for us overall. I already know what he can do. I've seen it with my own eyes, so I'm fairly confident. I'm sure he'll build a system that will actually help all the players and not just one. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with it.
When you say one, do you mean Mason Mount, captain?
Yeah, Captain Mason Mount. Yes.
Do you know what?
I feel like I was gonna say. I feel like Lampard already knew, so he was just like, "Oh, you know what? Because you've tried the hardest out of all of them, take it for today. Because I'm gone by tomorrow."
Yeah, he already did. I went and watched back his post-match and his pre and post-match interviews. I just went back and watched them. You can see it in his eyes. You could see it. He was there ceremoniously, sort of like, great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be here. That's why he picked Kepa as well, hoping it'd go wrong.
yeah, he did, 100%.
That's probably why I was on the touchline as much as it was in that game. I was just trying to savor the moment. It was like, it's my last game. Let me just stay on the touchline as long as I can, trying to savor the moment.
I hear that, and he'll be back.
And also, what's it, Terry? I did watch the Rory video, and he's just... he's one of those fans where he'll be upset now, but if Tuchel wins a Premier League, he won't mention it.
Yeah.
He won't mention it.
No, I get that completely. We've got a man like Kai with us now. Kai, I'm assuming you've watched Rory's video.
I have. I have.
And what do you think?
I think he's a hypocrite. He's a little man who talks a big talk, but at the end of the day he can't do anything about it. He is a guy who had one of his stories saying foreigners out, Chelsea in. He has a lot of kind of background stuff that I will not talk about because that I know of, that I've been told by people he knows. But at the end of the day, I will not talk about it because that's personal stuff that I know. But he's a hypocrite. When there's a video of him on True Geordie saying that Sarri should be sacked because he lost one single game to the only team in Premier League history to win 100 games. But whenever Chelsea lost to Sheffield United 3-0, he didn't say a word. He said, "Oh, it's a progress." And all of a sudden he said, "Oh, the board of sacking, they know for sacking, blah blah blah. But it's okay when Lampard reaches 1.67 point average. That's when it's the issue."
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like I said, I like Rory. I've met him. He's a nice guy. Some of the stuff he says, I agree with. Some of it I don't. Like, I don't deep it on a personal level. What I will say on this, he's living in feelings. He is, and I personally think he sounds moral, but I think he's yielding on his own morality and consistency, like you've said, because he loves Lampard. You know, a bit like me.
Yeah.
My daughter could be the aggressor in a fight, but it's the other kid's fault. Whatever happens, it's the other kid's fault. I'm not letting it be her fault. So that's, I get the emotion, and I'm sure he does as well. We're going to go to some callers now. They're going to chat. So first up, Jezza is on the line with us. Jezza, welcome back to the Football Terrace. What are you saying?
What's up, Terry? You good?
I'm good, bro. Tuchel's your new manager. Talk to me.
I like I said, I don't want to say too much about him because, like, from what I've seen in the Champions League, and it wasn't enough. But I do understand. Obviously, he's dealing with big personalities. I just wanted to come on here actually, and like, obviously, I've been watching you since Fan Park Live, so it's been cool to see a whole bunch of growth and to see a whole bunch of good Chelsea representatives. Because for a long time, it was just you and Adam. However, where's Monster? Because he came out all wax lyrical about how he supported Chelsea since before all of us were born in 2000 and what. But bro, like, if you've seen the club in a worse state, and you were here before Roman and you were watching Dennis Wise and all of that, surely you can handle the smoke that's going around now. So I don't know.
No, we can't, because that's different standards. That's a club before Roman. That's different standard. That's his club. If those standards are not good enough for him, he has every right to terminate. And if Rory doesn't like it, he can give a season ticket. I've heard there's a waiting list that's from here till, like, I don't know when.
Like, I hear.
I wasn't talking about that.
On the standards thing, like, I would just say this, that the standards have gone up.
Yep, massively.
Roman has adjusted those standards. I've been made writer. I said it every single time on this show to every single Chelsea fan I've ever spoken to. Some agreed with me, some didn't. That you haven't changed. There is no plan to build something with Lampard for 4 or 5 years with a bunch of kids, and that if it goes wrong for 5-6 months, he wouldn't make quick changes. Yep. And your Reece James looks brilliant. If he goes for a bad 6 months, I wouldn't be shocked if he was sold on. In a year's time, if Timo hasn't turned it around, or Havertz, I wouldn't be surprised if they've moved on. It's just how Chelsea operate, and that's what yielded the success. So, it is what it is. Jezza, thank you for coming on, mate, and sharing your views again. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Next up, we have Dolls CFC. Welcome to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say, mate?
Well, welcome, Terry. So, obviously, what's going on, David? I saw you earlier on Monster thing as well. So, obviously, in terms of where we're going to be in the next 2 years, I think that, this is, I think Tuchel, everyone's saying that he's going to be like a short-term thing. I think it might actually last a bit longer, because the thing with Thomas Tuchel is that he's got experience in the Bundesliga and Liga. Obviously, it didn't work out the way he wanted it to in Liga, but it could be, something a bit more different. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he got the same contract Lampard got, though. They both got 18 months. I don't know why people are hung up on the 18-month thing.
Listen, Chelsea have just learned, haven't they, to not give out 5-year deals now.
They should.
The average manager at Chelsea has only lasted 17 months. So they're giving you a month. They're basically giving you 18-month contract. You got a month severance pay in there, bro. That's it. Like,
it'll be gone in 2 seasons anyway. Don't worry about that. And then we'll move on to the next one, and then the next one.
What he wins, he'll be gone. I honestly think if he wins you the treble this year, if you win the treble, the proper 99 treble this year, you're sitting 6th in December, sacked.
He's gone.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but
I
Terry,
agree.
you can't
I said
say
it.
you can't really say that because Lampard is different. Lampard has been declining for
No,
2
he
months
can,
now.
Kai. He can say that because that's been
You
the way
can,
we've been.
but I think people are kind of
2004.
making these things with Lampard a lot lesser than it is. We've been
No, I'm
crap for
agreeing.
two
I'm
months now.
stating it doesn't matter if you're a club legend.
Yeah.
You had a club legend win you the Champions League and FA Cup. That's 2/3 of a treble. And
Yep,
you attacked him at the November. That's
yeah, I feel you. But I think a lot of people saying that that if Lampard was given more time, he would have changed it around.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's just ifs.
Bro,
That's what
maybe
ifs.
not.
Bro, if he changed it,
Yeah.
and if Lampard turned it around, if they went, hang on, we're going to bring the statement back, Lampard's back in today. If Lampard won the treble from here till now at the end of the year, and then was sixth in December, then sack him. That's just what.
Yeah. It's Chelsea's
Yeah,
way.
but I actually agree with it. I actually agree with it, Terry. I know you worked in a corporate environment, and I've worked in a corporate environment, and I still do. And if you don't reach your goals, then you have every right. Take emotional aside, you have every right to be sacked because you're not getting what you're getting paid for at the end of the day.
I totally hear you. So I'd read and say at the same time. I hear you, bro. Absolutely. We're going to do some more calls here. We're going to get Mansour Ahmed on the show. Mansour, big contributor of the Football Terrace. What you saying, big man?
Hi guys. So I think Tuchel will be an improvement to Lampard, but I know all the Chelsea fans are going to be on my case, but I don't think he's going to win you anything. You're just going to be a top 4 club with him, and that's my honest opinion. Because you look at everyone uses the PSG as an example. Any manager, any one of the panel here can go into PSG and make him win the title, because it's that of an easier league. And Bundesliga, if you look at it, yeah, he's got a high percentage win rate, but he hasn't had success. I mean, he only won the Polka Cup, and that's about it. But if he wins you something, I'll come back on and eat my words and apologize. But other than that, it's yeah. I
don't blame you.
Where did Klopp came from? Where did Klopp come from?
Germany.
He came from the same Bundesliga.
But he won.
But he
won it. Yeah, he won it. But he also got the same issue that Lampard had this season. He ran out of the board. He had issues with the board, and he got sacked because he almost got them. You know,
but the thing with Klopp is he built a team. Tuchel inherits teams and just makes them a little bit better. You look at Dortmund, he inherited that team from Klopp. You look at PSG, he inherited players likes of Mbappe, Neymar. So he inherits team, but has he made them to a team where it's his own team and he's got a stamp on it? No, he hasn't.
Because he has two clubs that are very difficult to build things in.
No, but
they have two boards. Two boards are very stubborn with their responsibility. Sell out your players. I think a lot of people are just looking at the things without context.
Mansour, who did he take over from at Dortmund again? Say it again.
Jurgen Klopp. Yeah.
Who did he take over when he was PSG?
Unai Emery, I think.
So both of those managers are better managers than Frank Lampard. He made PSG far better because he actually got them past the round of 16, which they were trying to do for years.
David,
listen. My point is, like, yeah, he may not have improved. Well, he did improve Dortmund because Dortmund were in a bad place when he took over, because that's what happens after Klopp comes in. But no, I'm not. That's no sult. That's me.
I'm laughing at the comment. Sorry.
No, that's genuinely.
David, there's no need to say that. Go on. No, I was going to say, there's no. I think Mansour Ahmed's got a point when you think about it. How can we all sit here as Chelsea fans and actually predict and say that Tuchel's going to come in and he's going to win things? We can't. There is no proof.
No one did, but there's no prediction that he can't either.
To reserve their judgment. If he wants to reserve his judgment against it, I'm the same. I'm reserving my judgment against Tuchel.
Yeah, but so am I. But he didn't reserve his judgment. He said he's not going to win anything. Blah 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 blah. He didn't reserve his judgments. To me, that's very immature. That's very immature to me. But I don't know if he's going to win anything. I do know that he's an improvement on Lampard based on the numbers that he's being given.
That was going to be my point.
But at the same time, I don't know if he's going to win Premier League.
Exactly, we don't know.
No one does.
We don't know.
At the end of the day, there are very few managers available that I think, in this climate, when you've got City and Liverpool where they are, when you've got Man United on the rise, Jose Mourinho at top, there are very few managers right now that could come that you could bring in and go, we win the title in a year or so.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't.
If any, even with those same managers you mentioned, they cannot guarantee that they're going to win the title because that league is so competitive.
If you announce Pep today, I'd say you're winning a title within between within 2 years, I think you could do it. But listen, Monsieur, thank you for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, buddy, as always. Lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. We've shared the link on the Discord server, so get yourself across there now. I am liking my Phil Mitchell voice today, you know. Next up, Ryan's on the Football Terrace. Ryan is an old school Chelsea fan there with the Zola badge. What you saying, brother?
Yeah, I think it's a sad day for Chelsea, to be honest. And I think Tuchel's going to come in and change, make us top four. You're having a laugh. He's coming into a new league, the hardest league, all right? Okay. Everyone agrees with that. He's coming with a squad that, in my opinion, are absolutely shot of confidence. They are shot of confidence. He's got to change that around. And then on top of that, he's got a game every 4 days. So I don't know how you top four. I really don't. The man is, it's a gigantic job. It's a gigantic job that he's just coming to.
Yeah, that's why Lampard got sacked from it. That's why Lampard got sacked from it.
Yeah, and also another thing to say is that we as Chelsea club, I've been watching Chelsea for probably a lot longer than you boys, especially David. I'm 31, right? And I've watched them for a long time. And this culture of chopping and changing managers, it's not anymore. You can't do that anymore. You really can't. I don't think so.
Anymore, right? Well, they are.
No, but why not? But why can't you do it?
Because Lampard got sacked. That's why
show me the clubs in the last 3 years, 4 years that have had success.
Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Hold on.
PSG.
Okay, hold on. Let's do it like this. How about over the past 20 years, we go over who's been the most successful club in England, and then tell me when it don't work.
Yeah, but I'm not
recently.
I'm saying
he's talking recently.
Bayern Munich.
But yeah, Bayern Munich.
But okay, let me ask another question. Do we have a board as good as
the first question failed. Let's go with the other one. Okay, good. Let's go.
No. I'm just saying that this culture in Chelsea is never going to change, and I'm fed up as a Chelsea fan.
You didn't have an issue with the culture when Sarri was here, right?
Right, let him finish.
Whoa, guys, just hold on. I did have an issue with the culture. I did have an issue, right? That day that Kepa didn't come off, I thought it was a disgrace. It was a disgrace for the club. It was a disgrace for not kicking him out, for kicking Kepa off the field. And I think it was despicable that the board didn't back Sarri, considering, we did well in that season. What was it? Manchester City, Liverpool, and then European trophy. I mean, what more do you want from the man, really?
Yeah, I agree with you, but our fans didn't show the same support that you and I do to him.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Our fans.
Ryan, let me ask you: Are you disappointed today with how the club's treated Frank Lampard, or did you think it was the right time to remove him from his position?
If he's lost the dressing room, he has to go. It's as simple as that. If you lose the dressing room, you have to go. Name me a manager that's come back from that. I don't know one.
Yeah.
Well, you're very right. I mean, we've seen Ollie in recent times go through bad runs, but he's never lost the dressing room. That's why he's able to turn it around. And I think that's massively key. Ryan, mate, thank you for coming on the show. Really good point.
Can I talk about what Ryan just said? Because Neeks made a pretty good point in the chat, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to steal it, Neeks. This is your stuff. Basically, he highlighted all the managers Chelsea's had and said the years it's taken since after they've sacked their manager to win. So after Ranieri got sacked, it took 1 year to win a title. After Jose got sacked, it took 3. After Ranieri, won the title after 1 year, and then it took 5 years after Ancelotti's sacking. So it's getting harder for you guys every time you do this. So maybe,
so that's the point Ryan's putting on.
But in that 5 years, we also did win a Champions League. So if you want to pick the trophy that we've won, of course it's going to.
Yeah, but using the Champions League is an interesting one, right? Because again, I don't remember the draws you had. Yeah. It's just like saying PSG made it to a Champions League final and Unai didn't, or whatnot.
We played Napoli, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich.
No, I agree. I agree that it's getting.
I don't remember, so I'm just saying.
I agree that it's getting more difficult, right? Like I agree with you.
But it's a fact. It's getting more difficult. If you split Roman's ownership in half. And look at the volume of trophies won in the first half. Don't do it in half. Put a pointer down where the new TV deal money came into football, and clubs getting hundreds of millions of pounds a year more in income.
Yeah.
Look at how many trophies you won before that and after that. Yeah. I guarantee you'll see a steady decline in the numbers because.
But we still managed 2 Premier Leagues, though, Terry.
But I know you have. I'm saying you still need to create something though, and the reason I say that is back in the day. I remember watching Chelsea when they first got that money. Scott Parker had a good 6 months. You bought him. Sean Wright Phillips had a good 2 weeks. You bought him. That was Chelsea. You just Man United, we're going to get Iron Robin. Now we're going to buy him. Man United,
Mikel was at Old Trafford.
Man United just signed it.
Mikel, yeah.
No, we ain't
We
having
even
that.
tried to buy out Sir Alex, man. According to this book as well. I read his book.
Exactly. So, like, but those days are gone because it's harder to buy people out now.
Yeah.
Because they don't need the money. So it's going to be interesting. And Ryan could end up being right. Who knows?
But Terry, you know why I mentioned it though? Because these same people, and I know Ryan, these same people didn't have an issue with Chelsea firing manager when it wasn't Lampard. And for me, one thing I don't like is hypocritical. Someone being hypocritical. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I wanted Sarri to stay, and Sarri didn't have the season that Lampard had. He didn't have 2 months of doing nothing but complain and losing game after game and blaming the players, having this toxic locker room for that long. But the reality is, if you're going to show energy, all of a sudden, after things went wrong from the side that you wanted to go, and all of a sudden you start complaining because it didn't fit your agenda. And that's, to me, it's not acceptable. Where were they complaining about the club culture before that?
On that point, you were bang on right. We've got Daniel on the show next. Daniel's an Arsenal fan. What are you going to say, bruv?
Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're well. First of all, I just want to say a massive shout out to Jem on his channel when he put the mental health awareness stream. It really helped me and it meant a lot to me. So thank you so much for that.
No worries, channel. Bro. No worries.
GMA TV.
I told you about that.
I know you did. Today, I feel like a school teacher today. It's been a fucking madness. Anyway, Daniel, we digress. Go for it, bro.
So what I'm going to say, I do think Lampard did deserve the sack. Main reason is because of the amount of money he did spend, and he hasn't got the best out of the main players like Timo Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, and I think he's lost in particular Werner and Havertz. So I don't think they were going to go into the best form. I think they just lost form completely and just lost hope under Lampard, most of the squad. So I do think he should have gone. But I just want to say some things what I've just seen in the media, which has been so overreactionary. Like some Chelsea fans are saying that they're not going to ever go back to Stamford Bridge again because Lampard's been sacked. Some people want Roman out because Lampard's been sacked. Football's a ruthless business, and if you want to succeed and the manager's not doing it, you sack that manager. And Chelsea fans should appreciate Roman for actually doing this to try and get back into where Chelsea belong. Where for our club, for example, everyone's saying trust the process with this shit manager we've had who should have been sacked after Villa at home. But whereas Chelsea, nope, we've given you a chance. We need to go and get someone else. So I think it's been a bit overreactionary to some of the Chelsea fans who did want him to stay, saying they're not going to go to matches anymore. But he hasn't done the job, so he needed to go. And so I wish we had Chelsea's board and owners because this manager we have right now.
Don't blame you on that one.
Then I see the guy in the cap on AFTV saying, "Ha ha ha ha! I did warn you," and he keeps on saying about, "Oh yeah, well with us." Yeah, DT with us. Oh well, it's such a mess. Oh, he's not been backed. Let me say something. He has been backed. He's been not fully backed, but he has been backed. Rob Holdings. He's got Rob Holding to stay, who's utter shit. David Luiz. He signed with Cedric, Pablo Mari, Partey.
So this is the Chelsea show, bro, mate. Not the Arsenal show.
No, but I'm just
saying. I'm loving Daniel. Yeah, thank you for the show, mate. I really appreciate it. You know what I've loved today? What I've absolutely loved about today is Arsenal fans actually seem more triggered about the sacking of Lampard because of what it represents for their football club. It has made me die, bro. It's made me absolutely die. Super chat here says the issue with this culture, is a culture of this club. I think he means it has no identity. This more often leads to a defensive manager like a Mourinho, Ranieri, Conte, as they bring instant success, decent football, not great, and they move on. No identity to this club. Jem, do you feel like your club has no identity?
No. Not really, no. Why would we not have any? Why would we not have any identity as a club? Like, it doesn't matter In the last 15 years, we've had different styles of managers. Ancelotti was different to Mourinho. Conte was different to Ancelotti. You're never ever gonna bring in the same type of manager throughout each course of the season, especially Chelsea, because they don't last long, every 2 years.
Yeah.
So for me, the identity thing is just a no-brainer. Like you can't. Like I remember when we had Hazard, Willian, Oscar, and Mata, and people were screaming out for Scolari. They wanted Scolari in because of his idea of football, and then it was AVB. AVB, you remember AVB? Oh, we want him because he plays a good style of football. We want the identity. Identity means nothing to me. It's all about winning things, and winning things means you have to get managers that have done it before. For me, and that's it.
I hear you on that. So go on, bro.
I was going to say, I don't understand where this thing of Tuchel is a failure has come from. I'm really confused by this because,
jeez, man, if he's a failure, what is Lampard, man? Jesus fucking Christ.
He did win
He's a hero.
trophy. He did win a trophy in Germany. I know Klopp won 2 titles, but the
so is Neil Armstrong, though. What
the
does it mean
Dortmund team who played Bayern Munich the Bayern Munich team was far weaker than when Tuchel was there. So there's 1 point. And then he went to PSG, won every single trophy that he could, except for a Champions League, which he got to the final of. And it's not like they lost the final because of his tactics, because his players didn't show up on the day.
And he has the highest win rate for both PSG and Dortmund.
Yeah, so to say that this guy is a failure, I don't get where this notion comes from.
It's because Lampard failed, so they want the next manager to fail.
I can't understand it either. For years, I thought Tuchel was a very good manager, and it's kind of strange. But we've got legend of the show on here with us now. Daniel's a Chelsea fan, is a moderator, member, big super chat contributor. A man like Daniel's here. What you saying, bro?
I'm all right. How's everybody? Are they all good?
Not bad.
We're good.
How
are
are
you,
you, Daniel?
You're good,
bro?
bro. Well,
Daniel.
Yeah, top of the league.
Don't start that. I know you're top of the league, and Man United deserve to be top of the league, but it's about Chelsea. It's a sad day for Chelsea fans, but we have to move on.
Yeah, because you were very much Lampard in, weren't you? Like you were supporting him.
I wasn't Lampard. I wasn't Lampard in or out. I supported everybody. Sorry, Ancelotti, AVB.
What about Avram Grant though?
Yes, Avram Grant as well.
Even Avram Grant, yeah. I always loved about Avram Grant. He looked like a toad. He just looked like a toad.
He did.
Like he legit.
Didn't do too bad.
That's how we call him in Israel as well, Terry. So that's.
Is that what you call him in Israel?
That's how we call him in Israel as well, you know. So.
I think toads look the same in every country. To be fair, Dan, what do you make of Tuchel though? Are you excited about what he could bring to Chelsea Football Club?
I don't know that much about him, to be honest, but I hope he does well.
Yeah, you imagine that's the weirdest thing I find with some people. It's like they don't hope that he does well. They kind of feel like you kind of get this feeling from them that they're sort of like, oh, I get the feeling from some Chelsea fans like they want him to fail to prove a point. I don't know, man. Thank you to come on, you Gooners, 13 times for becoming an official member. We are in the member chat only category of the streams. Make sure you're hitting the like and share button. You can join from as little as 99 pence. We're going to add young Samuel to the stream here. Young Samuel, what you saying, mate?
Bro, I was backstage when Daniel was there, and you know what? I ain't having none of it because he's saying, Arsenal and Chelsea, they're different. Yes, we are different because we're not. The manager hasn't been fully back to Arsenal. He said it himself. Mikel Arteta has not been fully supported. Frank Lampard got the full backing of the Chelsea board. So that's a myth. Second of all,
you keep saying it's full backing, but he didn't. Most of the players he didn't want. He only wanted Werner and.
Well, thank God for that. He wanted Rice.
Thingy.
Exactly.
What's your point,
right?
What is your point?
I'm saying Arsenal and Chelsea are totally different clubs, so stop comparing. As of right now,
who's the one who's comparing?
You can't compare us.
It's your fans who saying, "I wish we were like Chelsea." Our board doesn't care.
To Daniel right now, I'm responding to Daniel, not Daniel, the other Daniel, not this one on the stream, the other one.
Gooner Daniel.
Gooner Daniel. It's a myth. But you know what? As for Lampard, it's a little sad. But you know what? His time was up because him being a Chelsea legend doesn't correlate with him being the manager. It's two different things.
He's what?
Him being a legend doesn't add time.
When you said his time's what?
His time was long gone.
Time to go!
I knew you were going to do that.
I've actually seen something as well. This is Callum Hudson-Odoi this morning to Roman Abramovich.
It's my turn! You told me it was my turn.
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream. You
okay,
lost.
it is my
you
turn.
lost the game.
I can just imagine today there must be some players walking around the training ground,
little dances,
walking like Conor McGregor when he didn't get knocked out. Love you, Conor, but you did get sparkled, bro.
I'm assuming that makes it. Just quick question. Obviously, Frank Lampard's, we know he's gone. I'm assuming Jody Morris and everyone else is left with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming everyone's gone out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet earlier from someone.
Other than defensive coach stayed, but everybody else was.
The one from Norwich.
Yeah, Anthony Barry took the training session today, I believe.
Who?
Anthony Barry.
Did it?
The defensive coach, whatever.
I don't get it. We're gonna go next to. We're gonna add Mohammed to the stream here. Mohammed, welcome back, Liverpool fan. I know you're obviously really sad after getting battered yesterday by Rashi and Bruno and Ollie. Give me your reaction to Chelsea's news today and the appointment of Tuchel.
Regardless of what he does from now until the next 18 months, he's going to get sacked this time next year. Like you said, even if he does the treble or does whatever, if it goes wrong next season, he's going to get sacked and Chelsea are going to start again.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as he wins the Saint, bro, I don't care. That's all we do.
I mean, hopefully he will do well, but if he fails, that's work. That's just life. That's just everywhere. It's not only football.
Win a treble and then see you later.
Yeah, if you fail, you fail. That's your fault.
Mohammed.
Yeah, but you can only do it for so long.
Sorry, I was about to buy. I put the button. Sorry, Mohammed. I'm very sorry, mate. I didn't mean to do that. We've got Alex CFC on next. Alex, what you saying, brother?
Hey guys, you alright?
Hey, Alex.
All good.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hey,
How are you?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, not too bad. I think Tuchel. The last couple of last 2 weeks, I think all the rumors of him, Lampard getting sacked. I've been, thinking, do I want Tuchel or do I want Nagelsmann? Positives and negatives from both. I guess Tuchel, we'll see what he can do. But the one positive thing is that the way he did play at PSG, the way kind of the 4-4-2-2 kind of formation, kind of like playing with it can maybe suit the players that we do have in the team, because he did used to play this kind of formation where kind of the similar formation now they used to play RB Leipzig, and also the other good thing about him is that he does turn things in games. He doesn't just stick to kind of one type of formation, which is kind of, I think Terry, you were saying this maybe I think last week about how, maybe a manager should move away to actually only having one style, but actually be able to change their style up depending on what type of opponent there is. And Tuchel does that.
And Tuchel does that in abundance. It's really important in this game that you can adapt and change depending upon who you're up against. It absolutely does. There's no doubt about that. Alex, thank you very much, mate. Coming on the show, really appreciate it. Daniel as well, legend of the channel. Thank you very much also for your support today as well, mate. Really appreciate that.
Daniel,
thanks for letting me on. It's an honor, man. Thank you, Terry.
Honor's all mine, mate.
See you later, Daniel. Take care.
Very, very much indeed. Oh, my throat. I actually feel like I swallowed a cactus today.
Is that because of the United game? Yeah, that's it.
Mate, well, it was more afterwards. My reaction was I'm mad.
Your throat sweets, bro. Balls.
I can't go out. I'm scared. Slen is now. Slen, what you saying, bruv?
Yes, guys. How you all doing?
Good.
Bro, I just want to talk about a couple of things that's come out recently, and I know, listen, it's a good time to write about Chelsea. It's a good time to throw poo at the wall, and stuff will stick because you'll sell papers because of the sacking. But I've been seeing a couple of reports about player power. I want to talk about player power. I think, listen, there is no doubt Tuchel is an upgrade on Lampard, no doubt. He's almost twice a manager. He's got better CV, but we've seen reports that the Deadwood players. They've been starting revolution, starting problems in the dressing room. The players that haven't been playing as well. It's players like Rudiger, Kepa, Alonso. I want to talk about do you think there will be an issue with Tuchel? Because listen, these issues have happened with us for almost a decade now. When it happened a decade ago, it was players like Terry, Lampard who we accepted because listen, they're better players. They're good core of players who can improve us. But these Edward players, what right do they have to turn on the manager? What right do they have to create these problems? Listen, I wanted Lampard out. I just want to start by saying that. I wanted Lampard out, but I think it's come out. It's really bitter. It's come out. it's left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I'm not sure about like these players. They need to leave my club. Since if we're sacking players, or sacking managers, we'll be sacking these players as well.
Do you know what I'd say about that, mate? Is it's been going on for 15 years. With this episode, you could literally scrub out the names of players and managers and insert any manager or group or player from the last 15 years, and it's the same story. Like the journal, I honestly tell you, the newspapers have gone. So we get out the Jose sack stories and the name. It's the same thing, bro. Like it's like what's it like? Wash, rinse, repeat.
But Terry, can I say something about this?
Yeah, cool.
People need to forget. People seem to forget football is just a job for anybody else, and just like most of us, and Lampard would know the first thing about this because he have done it himself. When you are not happy with your management, you're gonna go above him. That's just how it is in everywhere. And if they are not happy with, they think that they're getting unfair treatments, and they're not. According to the Athletic, I don't know if it's true or not, but Lampard would ignore a lot of the players when they ask what do they need to do, or when he wants to talk to them about their playtime. So at the end of the day, it's a job for them as well. So them going to the management, I know it happened at United as well. Those players, for them, it's a job, and if they're not confident in the environment that they work in, they have every right to go and complain. Lampard did it himself, so I don't see the. Can
I respond to him? If you don't,
I think
can I respond to that?
The other thing, go on, bro.
Sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, bro, I agree with you. Listen, if you don't give instructions to certain players, then they have the right. It's their job. They're looking after themselves, looking after their wages, looking after their money. Of course, 100%. But for me, if you're a player who's cost the team on the field, like I'm talking about Kepa here, players like Rudiger, if you cost the team time after time, I have no sympathy. As a fan, I have no sympathy towards you because listen, you don't deserve to be in that position. You don't deserve to be in the squad because you haven't performed well enough.
But apparently it was Pulisic as well. Pulisic, Adoy. There's a lot of different characters that were.
There's a way that you deal.
No,
with
this is what I was about to say.
And with Marcus Alonso, we all know Marcus Alonso is one of the best wing backs in the world. Put him at left back, he doesn't know what he's doing. We all know that, right? But when I know he was at fault at West Brom, we can all see that. But when you go into the dressing room at half time and your manager publicly calls you out in front of the whole squad and then comes out afterwards and goes like, well, yeah, it wasn't my fault, it was my player's fault. And then you never get another chance again. I personally didn't want him to have another chance, but when you do it that way, you leave a player with no other option but except to be upset about it.
Go on, Jim.
I think the other issue you've got to bear in mind is when you got a squad like we have, and there's a lot of squad depth, it's very hard to keep every player happy. And we, as a team, over the course of many years, not barring last season because we wasn't able to buy it, have always managed to struggle to keep players happy, and that can cause issues in the training ground with individual players that may not be getting played as much as well, build up a bit of animosity against the manager. But then it's down to the manager to see how he can, accommodate them, keep them happy, try and pull them into the changing room, have a chat with them, tell them why they're not playing. And I think that's the problem Lampard had. I don't think he was doing that enough with individuals. And you saw people like Cho, who should have been starting and wasn't.
Certainly was
ignored. You know what I mean? And it all starts from that. Do you know what I mean?
It simply does. It does. Listen, Sen, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really good talking points brought to the panel there. Top man. Final call of the night. We're going to get Mr. Woz on the show. How's it going? I know you're a United fan, but tell me what you think about Tuchel to Chelsea.
To be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really have that much of an opinion on him. I just have a question that I wanted to ask everyone on the panel. My question is, from now until the end of the season, if he doesn't recover it and he hits that rock bottom, I'm saying if he does worse than what you lot are doing now, and you lot finish the season in, let's just say, 15th, 16th place, what happens then? Does he get sacked or do they let him carry on? That's my question, because this board is so it's like they're basically football fans. Abramovich it's like he acts as how football fans act. He acts on passion. He doesn't want to see that. And will he get fired or will he be allowed to stay and finish his start the next?
Can I answer that? Can I answer that, Terry? I have a funny response.
Go for it.
Even if it was Roman Abramovich's wife and she finished 15 at Chelsea, she's gone, man. He's divorcing her. That's it. Same thing with every manager. It doesn't matter. If you fail 50, it's not going to happen. I think Tuchel is much better than that. And I think he will be till the end. He'll fight until top 4. But if any manager gets 15th, they're out of the door. It doesn't matter. If you're Roman Abramovich's son, daughter, wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, you're out the door.
Listen, I also want to say, before you just let me go, Terry, here, I want to say, what COVID has done is it's taken away our ability to kind of link up with friends, talk about football, and watch it together. And I want to thank you. Obviously, I come on here and I throw a bit of banter on here and there, but honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I've got nothing but respect for all of you, man. I want to thank you lot for keeping us entertained, keeping the conversations going, and obviously letting us engage in the conversation, man. Big up you lot.
Listen, bro, thank you very much for saying that. Really kind words. And that's exactly what the Football Terrace is here for. It's why we've built the show in the way in which we do. And we've got something big, very big in the pipeline soon. New host of that United show on the way to be publicly announced. New host of a brand new Tottenham show to be announced. Box to Box Babes is on the way back very, very soon as well. Plus a big partnership for the Football Terrace. We can't wait to keep taking this forward. What I'm loving as well is I've seen like 3 new channels start. Called like one of them's called like Putting Rivalry Aside or something. It's where rival fans from different clubs all getting together to talk. Like we're starting a trend, and I'm proud of that. That we're doing that. But yeah, the Football Terrace is here. We're going to keep growing. We're going to get bigger and better. So thank you. Every single person who's joined in. Listen, lads, really appreciate you all coming on, having your say. I'm going to go and rest this voice. Make sure you join up to the Discord page. Check out the Manscaped website. Get your balls shaved. Trust me, boys. The partners will love it. Listen, Samuel, we know you ain't got a partner. It's all good, bruv. Do you know what I mean? What I'll say, Daniel, less friction. Less friction for you, brother. Less friction, bro. Hang on a minute. Hang on. We're joined by someone else before we disappear here. We're not going to... Hang on. Is this the real one or a fake one? It might be the real one. Where's he at? Is that him?
If it's Prime, it's him.
No, it's not Prime. I don't know where Prime is.
One of those DC.
Yeah, Prime tried to get in, but it was.
If I get top,
who's it going to be? Who do you guys reckon?
Lewis.
It's KJ. That's KJ's cam.
We'll put KJ in. There it is. KJ, you there?
The photographer guy.
Yeah, that's KJ.
Oh, KJ. Hello.
Why is he whispering?
Hello.
Why is he whispering? I'm not whispering. I'm here.
What talking about?
It sounds all weird, bro. It sounds all mad. I don't know what you're doing, bro. Just KJ broke the stream.
Calling from the basement.
I don't know what you've done.
I have one question actually for the Chelsea guys. Was Tuchel who you wanted?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's very underrated, and people are gonna see. People are gonna see things that might convince them. But.
Yo, am I back?
I'm waiting to see that. I reserve my judgment. That's all
yes, you're back, bro. I can hear you now.
All right, cool. Well, go on, people. You see, bangers and mash asses no more. I'm sad, man. I was enjoying that one. It lasted for a minute. Now you just got some. What should I call him now? I'll think of a name for my brother. Yeah, soon, and it'll be released soon. Yeah, but it's a good appointment for Chelsea. It's a good appointment for Chelsea. They're back. You know what I'm saying? They're back now.
Again, with the KJ judgment. God
yes, they're back. Listen, everyone, a massive thank you to all of you. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. This stream's going to send you straight over to Anita's show tonight, That Chelsea Show. So go over there now, like it, and get ready for that at 9 p.m. Until then, take care. Goodbye.